This is Create the Next from ProCFO Partners, where every week we explore strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help today's businesses put their financial picture in context.
Welcome back to Create the Next from ProCFO Partners. I'm Chris Ventliff, and today I'm joined by David Ashen in a client story that I'm excited to talk about with you, David. David is at Dash Design, which is a New York City-based interior design and branding agency. Those are interesting, two different things maybe. Specializing in hotel, restaurant, and retail, healthcare strategy, and design. Welcome to the show, David. Tell me a little bit about Dash Design.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. So we're, as you said, we're an interior design firm. We do both branding and interior design, as it says. A majority of our work is in the hospitality industry and currently in senior living as well.
Interesting. How long has Dash Design been doing this in the NYC area?
Dash Design has been doing this since 2004.
Wow. So there's been a lot that has changed in this space around comfort, around particularly maybe the last 2 years, safety or wellness. There's been changes around how we treat mood, how we treat lighting, how we treat surfaces, all these sorts of things. What have you seen as being kind of in that last, now we're up to 17 years, some of the more, dramatic or dynamic shifts from when you started to what you're doing now?
That's a broad question. I don't even know where to start. I'm like, the last 2 years, what's changed in the last 2 years? Not much. No, a lot has changed. It's interesting to me because as I'm seeing our business shift, meaning that we were really focused on the hospitality industry, and we made a cognizant decision about 2 years ago to shift into senior living, just as we saw that category was taking a lot of cues from the hospitality industry. So, as I look into the evolution, it's like I see senior living kind of in a position that hospitality was in about 25 years ago. So that's really interesting to see the differentiation that's starting to happen in that industry, and the interest in the well-being of seniors living in those communities across kind of all different demographics and price points, which the focus used to be really just on the luxury side. Hotels, there's been so much change, especially over the last 2 years. A lot more movement to what I see a lot more independent properties. So you're seeing less of a focus on the quote expected brand in a box to more either soft branded properties, which are kind of the independent properties under the big flags, or hotels like the one I'm staying in now, which is this little boutique property in Newport, Rhode Island, which opened up last year. People want variety. They don't want things that are expected, especially in the last year since COVID, seeing a rise in drive-to destinations. So big investment into motels, which were kind of sitting idle for a long time, or mom and pop kind of properties, and places that people can kind of do quick getaways.
Is that exciting for you as a leader of an organization that, is looking to create counsel and guidance on here's how this could not just look and feel, but also the purposes and the sort of functions it could have? How does that energize you in the company, these sort of new realities?
Well, it's challenging because you have to predict what understand what are kind of the possibilities, because we can't, where we thought we might, no one ever can read the future. But this is really the last, year and a half, 2 years has really thrown a wrench into things. So trying to project out different scenarios and possibilities is interesting and it's challenging. But also I like the fact that there's, I would say, a focus on unique design in all the categories we're working on. So that's more interesting, of course, than doing something that's, kind of a standardized thing that gets rolled out across, the country. Because for me, our work is, all of our projects look very different, which is important to me because they each address different, different clientele or different regions. We work all across the country, and actually we're all across the world. So for me, it's more interesting to do things that are unique and one-offs rather than repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
If you look back to 2004, whatever your big vision was for the first 2, 3, 5 years, have things gone according to how you thought they would go, or has the trajectory been, not the last 2 years notwithstanding, or has things just maybe you've grown differently or faster than you thought, or slower than you thought, or you've emerged into markets that are surprised, or what's been, I don't know, what's that been like for you?
I guess, I think part of it's a layered question. I'm trying to think back to what were my goals into. I mean, I do, part of my own process is to set, yearly goals, multiple, like monthly goals, yearly goals, 5-year goal, and kind of an infinity goal. And, it's not exactly the way I thought it would be. Actually, it's more interesting than I think I probably could imagine. I'm working on multiple different things. So, I started a nonprofit it's a think tank around senior living. I have other businesses that are related to real estate and my own projects. So that's interesting to me. So I always thought in 2004, I'm going to have this one thing that I'm going to be doing, which is dash design. But I have 5 different things I'm doing, which are correlated in some way, but they're offshoots of what I've learned over the years.
I bet that's fulfilling as a entrepreneur and as a creative person to sort of, I know what that's like, to pick up different things and let them energize different parts of your imagination or of your, structured work life or of the way that you like to handle different situations and things. I think that's a productive way to get the best out of different parts of you for different aspects of your business.
Right. And I couldn't have predicted where I would have gone. But I think that I feel very fortunate and very lucky to work on the things projects I've worked on and to be in the place that I'm in right now.
There's a lot of people that don't enjoy that. So good for you. You've created something that I think gives you a positivity that I'm sure is nourishing to you and then to the clients that you do work for. If you aren't happy in what you do, particularly as a creative or as a design sort of element, that just really shows up in your finished product. Let me ask you a little bit about your relationship with Kathleen Reynolds. She's your CFO, your ProCFO from ProCFO Partners. What led you to needing or feeling like a conversation, particularly with a fractional or part-time CFO? What business challenges are you facing where, look, that would really help me if I had somebody doing this part of things?
Yeah, I think that I always felt, I went to graduate school and studied architecture, and no one taught us any business skills. So anything I learned was really inductively through doing, and I had a good model because my dad was a business owner. So I at least I had some model of someone with some financial prowess. But in looking at growing the office, and I kind of reached a little bit of a limitation in terms of my breadth of knowledge. And, in looking at how to, number one, invest in growth. Just so there's like multiple levels. There's just the day-to-day operations of the business, right? How do we optimize things? How do we get things more efficient? I have a bookkeeper, but they're really focused on the day-to-day, more micro. I was looking for someone to help me more on a macro level, help me implement a plan against a vision, the vision of shifting. And that's really what a CFO is very useful in doing, what Kathleen has been helping us do. Of course, when she started a month before pandemic hit. So with ProCFO and with the network of partners, I think there are 30 partners now. They've been very helpful in really finding resources for us, things that would have taken me a very long time to figure out, like the PPP loans. SBA loans, working with my bank. Actually, they got us a new bank. You know, putting us in touch with the right partners. They helped us put in place a new accounting firm that has been very useful and helpful to us in terms of planning and really setting us up for success, because I'm looking at my business in the next 5 years and trying to position in a place for hopefully a sale. Or it's like looking at what is the succession of the company, and I'd like the company to grow beyond me. And the best way to do that is to merge with another firm or to sell the company for me to stay on. But in order to get that, we need to put our kind of ducks in a row and set ourselves up for better success.
So you mentioned all the sort of financial uniqueness of the COVID situation, but has Kathleen exceeded whatever your initial expectations would have been in this? And what skill sets has she brought that have really helped you do that?
Well, she also has background in HR, so she's really getting a lot of guidance on HR issues. So she's helped me evaluate my team. She's helped me evaluate people that I brought in at a high level. So really looking at figuring out some of the holes. She's been part of that team, looking at what are the opportunities for growth. And now we're in a very interesting position because of them, we were able to secure some government financing that we found out yesterday about. We were awarded. So that puts us in a very different financial position. That's a really strong position of potential growth for us. So now she's working with those funds. What are we put in place to help us move forward? So I do feel like we're coming out of this pandemic in a position of strength, not just because of the funds that are coming in, but because of the strength of the clients we have and the business we have. And because Kathleen was focusing and helping really focus on the financial side and all the things that were going on behind the scenes, on the accounting, on the books, on the securing the loans, on helping me with the HR stuff, I was able to free up time so that I could focus on the relationships. Because if I was to focus on all the things she was doing, I wouldn't be here.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, a powerful attribute of having that sort of strategic complement next to you as a leader, somebody who you can offload that stuff that either you're not as good at, not as interested in, don't have time for, don't know how to explore the nuances of, because then you get to do that in the ways you are good at with the people who do matter to the way that you manage business. And I think that's fantastic that Kathleen has been able to be a strong part of that for you.
It's so interesting because I was talking to a dinner with some friends who I know from the hotel industry the other night, and we were talking about a mutual friend who had a very successful, what I thought was a very successful firm, pretty well-known guy. And I'm like, oh, how is he doing? And she said, well, he went bankrupt. I'm like, oh, how did that happen? It's like, and I'm like, it could have been me, for this. I mean, really, it could have been me if we didn't have the help of Kathleen and Nelson and the team in terms of helping us navigate what was a very difficult 18 months. Because really, it's not that our billing wasn't there; it's just our clients stopped paying. And we were able to. They've caught up, which is good, but it's taken a while. And actually, we had very little debt go bad. But through navigating what was very unknown territory and helping us focus on getting things aligned in my company, we didn't have to we laid one person off, which I'm thankful we were able to keep everyone employed. And I was able to focus on building on my relationships and building the business. So really through that partnership, we're coming into this in a real position of strength.
What a tremendous story. What a tremendous, it says a lot about you and your team and your company and how you do things and the clients that you've been able to attract. And then the way that ProCFO Partners has been a helpful part of that for you. I'm excited for you. I hope that the future is strong and sound and that these things that you have in the next 3 to 5 years happen for you. I hope that they all come to fruition in the way that they might. Maybe we don't expect, but that they will continue from a place of strength. David Ashen is at design-design.net. So gracious with your time and your candor today. Thank you so much for joining me, and let's stay in touch. Maybe down the road we'll see how things are going.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. Visit ProCFOPartners.com for more strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help you put your business's financial picture in context.